I don't think it's good, and there are many stories from both Master and Swamiji. You remember the story that Swamiji told in the path about Master. He had a young devotee, and she was meditating. But when she went to him, he called her, and she said, I was meditating. She didn't not go, as one of the monks did one time. But, was that Master himself with Sri Yukteswar? Wouldn't answer Sri Yukteswar's call because he said he was meditating. I think somebody can help me out here who remembers this if they do. But Master said, your mind, I think this is the time where he said, I know how you were meditating. Your mind was like leaves in the wind, or on the wind, or it was something like that. Meaning your mind was quite scattered. They always know the truth about us, so no point in trying to fool anybody, which of course you're not. Or that young woman who was a devotee, a disciple of Master's, and she would sit for a long time, but he said she really couldn't meditate. She couldn't be focused, she couldn't feel joy. He didn't say all of that, but she wasn't meditating deeply. We're meditating deeply, there's joy. And he said, in that case, he said, but she's so sincere, I'll meditate for her. That is so beautiful, and it's good for all of us to be able to hold on to that. There have been many times over these past decades where I haven't been able to focus the way I would have liked to have focused. And I just took the stance of a little child, and I was very sincere. And I felt not only that I could ask this, but I felt that he would do it. And I said, Master, you're just going to have to meditate for me now. You just have to do this for me. And I would sit, and I would feel much more of his presence after I reached for him. And so I'll just say, that's one thing we can always do. And if you can feel his presence, you would know, you would guess what I'm about to say, but with his presence comes such a lightness of being, so much love, just that he would come to us like that we would call earnestly with our heart, and he would come and be there. And he will. Remember when Swamiji was with him out at 29 Palms, and he would go to stumble, and Swamiji would have to watch and make sure he didn't fall. And Master said, I'm in so many bodies. Sometimes I forget which one I need to keep up. He's with all of us all the time. So I answered a different question before, and I would say to you, depending on how much you're struggling, of course you can do all of those things. They're all good things to do. Everything we do on this path, consciously, and again, with awareness that we want to be moving on the path, everything's just a tool. Even Kriya Yoga, it's a tool. If we're having an experience, if we're practicing our Kriya, or if you're not a Kriyaban, and you're deep in meditation, and you begin to have an experience of the divine in any way, of course you stop. You don't say, I'm going to leave this and go back to my Kriya or back to my deep meditation. We're doing those things to have an experience of the divine. That's what we mean when we say to find God. We mean to move back into that state of oneness. And we know when we're there, if we're practicing any technique and we begin to hear Om. We go into the Om. We leave what we're doing. Being in Om is being with God. Those are all of our goals, and we have to remember that. So yes, if we're writing mantra in a book, or if we're practicing energization, or if we just write out all of our prayers, if we start talking to God, just talk to God. If we can't meditate, but really talk to God. Those are all wonderful things to do. But if you can, if you're able to sit, but you're not sitting like, I'm going to stay here no matter what. No, don't do that. That's not meditating. If you're in pain in any way, physical pain certainly, but in pain because you can barely sit, literally people torture themselves. Don't do that. That's not right. But the first thing to do is to ask Master if he'll come to you. And I don't know what he does with anybody else. I'm not sure. I mean, other than the stories that people have told me. So I know he comes to a lot of people often. But call on him genuinely, sincerely, and see if he'll come and help you. That's the very first thing to do. And if you can't feel him in any way, which does not mean he's not listening, and it doesn't mean he doesn't love you, it means not yet. He knows. Master knows. And you have to believe that if he's not coming, again, it's not because he's not right there. It's just not time. So, as we sing so often, keep calling him. But if you need to do something else that might help you find joy, then, as I said, just keep talking to him. I call that prayer. And I talk to God a lot. I don't know what it means. I always feel like he's going to listen because I annoy him so much that I've said this many times. He'll say, "Oi, I just have to take care of her to get her off my back." But, of course, I don't think he really feels that way, but I do bother God a lot. And it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. So try that.